Wow, everybody, here we are. We've made it to our final expansion box. Welcome to Digital Charcuterie on another Marvel United deep dive. I'm Andrew Fantasia. Thanks for joining me. As always, please like and subscribe and ring bells. But more importantly, there's another bell you can ring. The bell of ding, I just bought the coolest book in town. Whatever town I happen to live in, because my book, We Were Wizards, it's a fantasy novel. It's available right now on Amazon. See this right here? This is my book. It's my pride and joy. It's a hardcover, but that's fine if you don't like hardcovers. I got paperbacks there too, and I've got ebooks, and I've even got the next book in the series that you can read. So Seekers of the Stones, Ghosts of Wizards Past, both of them are part of We Were Wizards. That's the name of the series. Check out my books on Amazon right now. There'll be a link in the description below if you love fantasy, because this is going to be right up your alley, my friends. And speaking of things that are up people's alleys, that sounds wrong, but it isn't, because what we're talking about is so right. Maximum Carnage. That's the name of the game today. And that is totally up my alley for a very specific reason. It is so special to me, and we're going to talk about why that is. So let's hit the table and take a look at Maximum Carnage. Oh boy, this is a big moment for me. Welcome to Maximum Carnage. If there was no such thing as copyright laws, I'd be playing the theme music from the Sega game non-stop right now. So we're going to pair a particular movie with this that I'm very excited to talk about, because Maximum Carnage, the story at least, was about a group of supervillains terrorizing New York City. I figured I'm going to show you a movie that's about a group of villains terrorizing New York City, and it's one of my favorite movies ever, like top 50, and it's called The Taking of Pelham 123. There was a remake of this, but this is the original from, I believe, 1974 or somewhere around there. This is just an incredible New York movie. I do love me some good New York movies. 1974, perfect. And it's about a group of 4 villains who hijack a subway car, and they take the subway hostage, and they demand that the city pay them millions of dollars, otherwise they'll kill all the hostages. And that's it. It takes place over the span of a few hours, and it is magnificent. Like, this to me is a 5-star, A+, 10 out of 10 movie. I love it to pieces. And I definitely recommend, if you love New York movies, if you love crime dramas, The Taking of Pelham 123, stupendous. But there's carnage to be had, a maximum amount of it, in fact. So let's flip this over carefully. And whoa, I can hear a lot of stuff moving around in there. Okay, Maximum Carnage. Escaping from prison, Carnage partnered with Shriek, and the couple started a twisted sort of family, bringing in Doppelganger and Demogoblin under Carnage's symbiotic wings. Joined by other dark villains like Morbius, the living vampire, these new Sinister Six pose a unified threat that will test the hero's resolve to the limit. Spreading his infection around, the symbiote is hellbent on bringing maximum carnage to the world. And I just noticed that it has this little red area that says this includes the Sinister Six assembled module, which uses villains from Spider-Geddon, Enter the Spider-Verse, Return of the Sinister Six, United promos, and Multiverse promos, just to let people know. Wow. Okay. Well, let's take this back down here and release it from its cardboard cage. There we go. Welcome to the Carnage. Thank you. Thank you for welcoming me to the Carnage. That's the, it's kind of a mixed message, but okay. And we've got a little rules book, not a leaflet, because there's a lot going on in here. So we've got a rules book this time. That's got everything you'll find inside. And it's got the rules for the Carnage Challenge, which is it's more it's less complicated than it looks, as we'll discuss in a minute. But there's a lot of rules going on here. And then there's the Sinister Six mode. And then there's Sinister Six Assembled, and how all that works, and how team versus team works with that. And yeah, just great stuff. Great little stuff to add to your game. And one of the things I love about this box is how vibrant the art, like, it's very, very vibrant in here. Look at that new Sinister Six. Those guys should start a rock group. Look at that. Come on, you can already see that happening, right? He's the drummer. There's no question about that. She's on guitar. She's providing main vocals. He might be backup vocals. Then we've got keyboard, and I'm not sure what Scorpion does. Maybe he's their manager or something. But there's the new Sinister Six dashboard and all its rules, the oversized dashboard. One of the many reasons why this makes me happy is because it bodes well for the future. So many people make their hypothetical, here's what I want in a season 4 kind of thing. And I'm guilty of that too. I've done that plenty of times. But a lot of times people will kind of shoot down ideas and say, oh, well, they wouldn't make that because that doesn't make sense according to the comics. Well, here's the thing. We don't have to worry about that because never, I mean, granted, I don't know. I'm not a comic book reader, so maybe I'm totally wrong. But I'm pretty sure at no point in any comic book did these individual 6 characters get together and team up and say, we're going to call ourselves the new Sinister Six. I'm pretty sure that never happened. I'm pretty sure that that name is just applying to them in the context of this game and nowhere else. So with that being said, if these guys can be called the new Sinister Six in United, then anybody can be called anything in United. And we can have those, wondrous wish fulfillment teams that everybody has been wanting. Okay, so we have locations in here. We've got 4 of them. I love that logo, by the way. That's the classic logo. It's so cool. All right. Locations are Fisk Tower. Very nice. Bishop Publishing. Statue of Liberty, and she's chibi. Love it. And Hell's Kitchen. And yeah, that's all you need. Just some 4 great New York locations that we haven't gotten yet. And here are our villain dashboards underneath it all. Look what we got here. We have this dual fight, first of all, which I have not used yet. I haven't used a lot of this box, actually. Demogoblin and Doppelganger as a team. Love it. Shriek, who I have fought, and she was a lot of fun. She's just classic Maximum Carnage villain. There's the Carnage challenge. We'll get to that last, actually. We'll touch on that later. Scream, who I think Shriek is the only individual villain I fought in here. I fought the new Sinister Six. I fought Sinister Six Assembled, but she's the only individual one I fought. So Scream I have not seen yet either, but I love that she's in here. My goodness, do I ever love that she's in here. Morbius, the living vampire Morbius, who, sorry Jared Leto, but as far as I'm concerned, there's only one way to play Morbius, and he has to talk like this. And there's Scorpion, who I'm very excited to fight because he's just so classic. And then finally, the Carnage challenge. And like I said before, see how many rules there are here? There's a lot, there's so much going on. And then when you flip it over to the other side, there's even more. But he is not as complicated as he looks. We have used the Carnage challenge because my friend and I, my friend Tiago, who is not the same Tiago who designed part of this game, but my best friend Tiago and I, we grew up on Maximum Carnage together. That was our thing. In fact, I brought this to show you as well. This is the exact cartridge, the Sega cartridge that we used to play at his house all the time. This is actually his. I don't know why I have it. I must have just borrowed it one day and it's still kicking around in my room here. But yeah, like we spent hours trying to beat this and many years. It took many years for us to beat it. So this is our thing. Maximum Carnage is specifically our thing. And so we played against him together and we took one look at the rules and we were like, oh God, this is going to be so hard. And we were terrified because it's adding carnage to things. But in actuality, it ended up being a really fun challenge. And we ended up beating him too on our first time trying to take him down. So it's not that intimidating, even though it gives off the impression that it is. So I would recommend, if you have not done so already, try the Carnage challenge. You'll be pleasantly surprised like we were. And let's see. So Scorpion's got a special setup on the back. Morbius does not. He's apparently very simple, Morbius. Scream has a special setup. Shriek has a special setup. These guys definitely have a special setup because they both start at the same location. And there you go. Wow. That's terrific. Okay. So I'm going to put those back over here. And now I'm going to open this and give us a glimpse inside. Oh, see, we have some tokens that fell. That's okay. That could be worse things to fall. So what do we got in here? Well, in this corner, we have a bunch of cards, which is the norm by this point. You should be used to this. So most of these are villain decks. As you can see, there's only one purple guy in here, so you're not going to be seeing a whole bunch of hero decks in this box. But here is Scorpion's deck, which I'm going to just slowly breeze through, but I'm not really going to look at it myself because I want to be surprised. But there's Scorpion's cards. He's the one I'm most looking forward to trying because just he's classic at Scorpion, right? There's Morbius's deck. And again, I'm not going to spoil it for myself, but feel free to freeze frame if you would like to take a look at what he can do. I hope one of his cards says, "In my country, we eat tortoises," because that was his best line on the show by far. And I have played with Morbius as a hero, and I really like his hero cards. He's always hungering for plasma. I hunger for plasma. That's his thing. He's so sad. He's such a tragic figure. And here are Shriek's cards, and she's got all the classic Maximum Carnage villains as her henchmen, including Carnage as a henchman, which is crazy to think about, but yep, she's got him. And there we go. There's her master plan. All right. So on this side here, we have the weak spots for all the Sinister Six assembled. So those all kind of go separately there. And then you have the Sinister Six assembled cards, which are like that, which is a very, very cool feature. And I'll show you that in a little more detail in a second. But here's the new Sinister Six deck. Looking groovy, looking snazzy. I like it a lot. New Sinister Six. All right. That's them there. And there's Demogoblin and Doppelganger, who I'm also not going to spoil for myself. Love it. Love it. Soon their names will come up. I play randomly, folks. I have no control over what comes on the board. Although, when I'm very soon creeping up on my 500th game of United, and when I reach milestones like that, I do allow myself a choice, just because to make it special. And here is Scream, and she's got her own special mission card and her own symbiotes, and that's very fun. And there are her master plan cards. All right, so on top of all the characters that are in there, you've also got, as we've seen here, the Sinister Six assembled mode and everything that entails. And boy, does that entail a lot of things. There's also this card here, which is a special rules card for Vulture, Shriek, and Scorpion, because they have slightly altered rules for Sinister Six assembled. Very, very slightly altered. But if you don't know what Sinister Six assembled is, and you're looking to buy this box, now that's a tricky thing because Sinister Six assembled is the Kickstarter exclusive feature of this box. If you buy the retail version, you're not going to get that. But hopefully you'll get lucky and find it somewhere because it is pretty great. And it just looks like this. That's it. It's just puzzle pieces. That's all it is. But it is the variety that I have wanted as a Spider-Man fan my whole life, because you put that piece in the middle and that lets you create your own Sinister Six. So I'm going to put Carnage right there. And I have these stacked in alphabetical order, so I'm just going to put them like that to save me some time. There's Chameleon. There's Demogoblin. There's Dr. Otto Octavius. And there's Doppelganger. And why not? There's Electro. And voila, you have your own bespoke Sinister Six. And then all the characters in your game are running around trying to defeat the Sinister Six. This is not a space. I don't know why I'm doing that. But they have to deal with everybody, and everybody's got their own weak spots, as is the norm with the Sinister Six mode. And the weak spots help you figure out how to defeat a villain. So, for example, Demogoblin here, if you want to defeat him, first you've got to go where he is and fill out this card with movements and stars. And then once you remove that weak spot card, then bada bing, bada boom, you got yourself a Demogoblin that you can fight, and all will be well with the world once you fight him. And yeah, that's how it works, and it is magnificent, and I love it to pieces. And obviously, it's going to be hard to find if you're looking on the aftermarket, but I really, really hope that one of the things that happens when this Magical Nebula Season 4 comes out is that they reprint this for people, because missing out on this feature would be a crime. And especially if the season 4 has more Spider-Man villains that we're missing, like say Prowler and Hydro Man and Jack-O-Lantern. We want to add them to this, right? So come on, make it happen. And give the fans what they all want, because that would be glorious. Now, this actually, even though it's one of the coolest features of the box, it also represents the only thing about the Maximum Carnage box that I don't personally like. And you may have already guessed what it is. If you own this box, you may have already faced this same challenge. And that is the very simple fact that here's the box. Here's Sinister Six assembled. Where do I put it? It doesn't fit anywhere. You cannot, and I've checked underneath. It's not like there's any secret compartment. You can't store Sinister Six assembled in the box that it comes in. I get it, because that way they didn't have to mold 2 totally different boxes. They could keep the box the same, whether it's Kickstarter or retail. But that just means that this kind of sits out on my shelf, just out in the open like that, because I have nowhere else really I can store it. And it's too bad that they didn't have a little spot for it, but that is definitely not a huge issue. It's just a small one. But then the last thing that comes in the box before we get to the miniatures is the Carnage Challenge card, because that is a challenge unto itself. There are tokens, of course, as you've seen. There's a stun token, and there's some KO tokens, and then there's these lovely Carnage tokens, which I really like. And then the piece de resistance is the Carnage die, which is the only die in all of United so far. And maybe forever. Let's roll it. Let's see what happens. Oh, we got a 0. That's good. Well, it's good in theory. At least it's not the Carnage face. The Carnage face is always bad. All right. We will look at miniatures starting from my least favorite, and that is going to be the Shriek miniature. Only because it's just a very simple miniature of a lady screaming. Because that's what Shriek does. And in the video game, when she screams, she throws sonic blasts at you. And it's hard to dodge those. But she's the easiest villain in the game, because the super villains just keep getting harder after her. She's like the first boss, but she keeps coming back. And boy, oh boy, do they come back with a vengeance. All right, after that, we will go with Scream. I love how solid Scream is. I love how big and chunky they made her hair, because her hair is kind of a big feature. And she just looks terrifying. Look at those sharp teeth. I could cut myself on those teeth right now. Ow, Scream, how dare you? And she's jumping off a rooftop here. There's a little chimney going on behind her. She's just a ton of fun. So shocked when I saw that she was going to be in this game. And after Scream is Michael Morbius, who we all hoped, or at least I really hoped, would be purple. And thankfully he is, because he really is a Marvel anti-hero through and through. Meeting him in the cartoon was a mixed bag for me at first, but I've come to appreciate him. After him, we'll go with Scorpion. Scorpion looks great. His tail is pointy and sharp. Lots of sharp edges in this box, folks. The villains are out to get you. So if you've got kids, tell them to be careful if they open the Maximum Carnage box. And he just... look at that. I'm shocked it took us 3 seasons to get this guy, because he's a big deal. But I guess that's what happens when your middle season is hyper-focused on just the mutants, right? Like, a lot of stuff gets saved for season 3, which is cool, in a way. But it took a long time to get him. It took even longer to get Shocker, which was, like, literally the last character ever unlocked in Marvel United. But Scorpion's up there, too. All right, we're going with Dark Carnage next. He's this fuchsia color, because that's the color of challenge figures, as we've seen with Deadpool and the Sentinels. Though it would have been really cool if they made him red and black, if they just kind of marbled him just as like a super special treat, because it's Carnage. I'm not a fan of this modern Carnage with the spiral on his forehead. I don't know what that's all about. Just give me classic 90s Carnage, please and thank you, and I'll be happy. But this is Carnage to me. The giant half-moon blade that he turns his arm into, yeah. That's how you know you're in Carnage country. It's a beautiful figure. Okay. These last two, I've stated time and time again on this channel, and I'm going to keep stating until the day I die, how the shock and surprise I felt in my heart and soul when they announced that these two were going to be in Marvel United. I never dreamed I would see the day. Little Andrew would have absolutely pooped his pants and lost his mind if you told him Doppelganger and Demogoblin were going to be in a board game and you would get these finely, beautifully sculpted figurines of them. He would not have known what to do with himself. He would have just started running laps around the world. He'd probably still be running those laps. Demogoblin is hands down my favorite figure in this box. He is wild and just completely, he takes over. You're immediately drawn to him. You cannot take your eyes off this figure. He's got his pumpkin bombs. And then to top it all off, his glider is made of fire, because of course it is. And man, in the Genesis game, he was really hard to hit. You needed to use like your ally summons if you wanted to hit him, because he was just flying around, strafing and throwing pumpkin bombs at you. And getting the pattern down to hit him was a challenge and a half, let me tell you. The fact that he exists is just, you never, ever would have made me believe that that was possible once upon a time. So, there it is. There is Maximum Carnage, my favorite of the Season 3 expansions. Not counting the stretch goal box, because we always like to save that for last because it's a big deal. I do put one more thing in here. Again, you see there's a lot of overflow happening already. It'd be so nice if there wasn't. But the sleeves have caused overflow on both sides. However, I do put one more villain in here from the stretch goal box just because he fits. We're talking about my favorite character from this whole season, the Hobgoblin. He's in the box, folks. He's in the Maximum Carnage box because he's just in good company. These are the kind of people he would hang out with. Maybe not necessarily. I've never seen Hobgoblin share the screen with Demogoblin or share the page with Demogoblin, but I'm pretty sure that they would have some epic encounters at some point or another. So I put him in here just because it makes sense to me that he would be in here. It's my childhood box. He's my childhood villain. So there he is. He's simple as a pimple, too. There's not a lot going on with Hobgoblin. He's just a simple, straightforward fight. But I'm so happy he's in here. So I'm just going to toss his cards there. And I will toss his dashboard there. And we will close up the box. So now we have seen the final main expansion for Marvel United Multiverse. And as you can tell, it's probably going to be worth points galore. But is it worth the most points galore? I honestly don't know. I don't tally these up in my head ahead of time. I record these, I do our deep dives, and then I sit down and do the math. So I'll be as surprised as you are when we see the final total. Is this going to outshine the likes of Civil War or War of Kings or Galactus? Or is it going to just sort of be an above average but not cream of the crop kind of thing? We're going to have to wait and see. So let's do that math now and find out together. All right, there's a lot in here. 6 miniatures and 1 special miniature are in this box. The special one is Demogoblin with that beautiful fire effect. So the miniatures alone will get you 8 points. You get another 8 points for the fact that there are 4 villains in this box. Shriek, Scream, Scorpion, and Demogoblin and Doppelganger, who operate as a single unit. An anti-hero in Morbius gets you another 3 points. 4 locations gets you another 2 points. Then we have our special new modes, Sinister Six mode, which is worth 2 points. And if you've got the Kickstarter exclusive box, Sinister Six Assembled. Last but not least, the Dark Carnage Challenge is in there. So that all comes out to 26 points of worthiness. But if you've got only the retail version, it's 24, which is still fantastic as far as expansions are concerned. Either way, my friends, you pick up this box, you win. Wow, a lot of points in Season 3's expansion boxes. That's just wonderful. It makes me so happy. And now, all that's left to do is to come back next week and see the final Marvel United deep dive. Hopefully, the final one so far. Because, season 4 would be nice. But the final one is just going to be the multiverse stretch goal box. And once we talk about it in that final episode, we are going to tally up all of the points that we have given to every box throughout this entire deep dive series and take a look at what is worth the most bang for your spending buck. So I'll see you here in a week. Thank you so much for joining me on this Maximum Carnage adventure as we continue to make the wait for DC Superheroes United a little bit shorter and a whole lot sweeter. See you next time.